Hello everyone, it's Shanna. So glad you're here. Today we're going to work with 3 more of Kendra's Card Challenge 13 sketches. We've got sketch 4, 5, and 6 that we're going to work on. I've got that cute little dog that's holding together all of my sketches, and I'm just going to put it back on there. And I've got sketch 4, and I'm going to pull it out of the envelope and see what we've got. So I've got my card base, and I've got a layering panel. The layering panel is the same size as my card base. It is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I think this, I was going to say this paper's Latte, but I'm not sure that it is. I'll link all the materials in the description box below so you can check it out. So I've got that panel laid down, and I've got some mirrored gold cardstock from Spellbinders, and I've got that yellow piece there, and then I've got that coffee piece. Those are the 2 pieces of 6 by 6 patterned paper that were part of the cutting guide. The rest are layers that I'm bringing in. So you can see that cardstock's got a corner out of it. I must have die cut a circle out of it, and I'm going to use it because it will be covered up by the second layer. So I'm just getting a good clean edge on there, and that edge where you don't have a backer on, it won't matter. I'm going to use some glue runner and get it laid down on there, and then my next panel is going to cover up that spot where I die cut out of that metallic gold cardstock. And I'm going to do the same thing, just use the glue tape runner and get it laid down on there. I'm doing that because it just takes too long to dry on the metallic card base because I'm trying to move along here. So I'm just using the tape runner because it's a quick stick, and you're ready to go. So I'm going to angle that, and that's going to cover up that spot. No one will ever know. And now I've got another piece of mirrored gold cardstock, and I'm going to lay my panel on. Just so you know, the first layer was a 3 1/4 inch square, and then it had a backer layer of 3 1/2 on it. And then the second coffee layer is 2 1/2 square, and then you've got a layer of 2 3/4 behind it. And then this final one is just a 2-inch square, and we're layering 2 1/4 behind it. So those are the measurements for this. Just going to line it up there on my glass mat straight so that I can make sure I'm getting it laid down on there straight. And that looks good. So now I'm going to decide, do I want to put this coffee cup on here or this cupcake? And I decided the cupcake looked good because there's cupcakes that are sticking out of that little piece of patterned paper there that's showing. And I thought this could make a good birthday card. So I'm just going to take that cupcake piece of ephemera, put some of my foam tape on it, pop it up, and lay it down on that center square. Now, after I got done filming and I was getting ready to take a picture of this for the video, I decided that I was going to bring in some sentiments. And I had some sentiments that I had already foiled previously in a little container on my desk. And I just grabbed a happy birthday sentiment that was on some of that Dune cardstock, and it looked really nice with it, and I just laid it down across the bottom of my card. So you'll see that in the picture at the end. Now I'm just laying some enamel dots down, and these are part of that Cafe Latte release, and I'm just going to put them down there. Now these 3 dots, enamel dots, are just like the card sketch. So this one, I pretty much followed the card sketch exactly. Now I'm going to bring in sketch 5. Now sketch 4 and 5, or 5 and 6, are very similar. In that they're using the same pattern paper and the cutaways from each. The sketch 5 is going to be landscape, and sketch 6 is going to be portrait. But otherwise, they're going to be very, very similar. So I've got my favorite little gingham paper here, and I'm going to get it laid down. And we're looking at a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel, cover the whole card base. And then these other papers all started off at 4, actually I'm going to put a 5, that Tuscan layer there is actually 5 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to put that down first. Then, what I was meaning to say is, these pattern papers started off at 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. And then you sliced them in a couple of ways. Now I'm trying to figure out how they will hand. So I'm just getting them turned around how I want them, lining them up, making sure I got my card base going in the right direction. And I'm trying to decide, do I flip them all over and then tape them up, or do I just lay them down and then pull it aside? So this one I'm going to put together, sweep across my desk and flip over. And then I'm going to just bring in some transparent Scotch tape and hold them down so that when I go to put them on my card base, they'll all stay together nice and neat. Now this first piece I taped down to my glass mat just to kind of hold everything steady as I'm taping it. And then I'll have to trim a little bit off once I get it flipped over. But that one came together nice. And I should have done the second one exactly the same because I got it off just a tiny little bit. So I'm just going to lay this down on there and throw some glue on the back, and it'll go right down on the card base. So you just have some interesting patterns on there. The brown is almost like I suppose it's like a coffee squirrel, but it kind of makes me think of a wood grain. And then the other one is the paper that has the coffee and the cupcakes on it. So I've decided I don't just want to lay my insert coffee and begin cinnamon on there. I want to use a die. So I got this brand new scallop stitched circle die from Cat Scrappiness in the mail yesterday. Hadn't even pulled it apart. So I had to go off camera and pull it apart and cut them apart. And I just grabbed a piece of that mirrored gold cardstock that I've been using and cut a circle out. And so now I've got a real pretty stitched scallop mirrored circle that I'm going to lay on the center of this card and then put my insert coffee and begin piece of ephemera on there. And I think that helps pull it together nicely. Now this next one, like I said, sketch 6, is just exactly like 5, except that we're going to go portrait style. And of course my design is going to be a little bit different. So I'm bringing in a piece of Dune cardstock that I had die cut out a bunch of ovals out of, and it actually had tape on there from where I had taped down my dies. But I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to lay it on here. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and my second layer is going to cover up all those die cut ovals, die cut shapes I have there. And I need to trim that down. I didn't trim it down in advance, so I'm trimming it down to 5 by 3 3/4, just like the other card. And then I'll be ready to lay it down on my panel there. And this is also Spellbinder's Essential Cardstock. I'll link everything in the description box below so you can check it out. And if you shop from those links, it's really helpful to my channel. It does help support me and allow me to bring new content to you guys. So I appreciate you clicking the links and shopping from there, if you will. It doesn't cost you anymore. It's at no cost to you, but it does give me a little bit of commission. Now this one I've decided, at first I thought I was going to do the same pattern as I did on the other one because I wasn't sure I liked the other, but I decided that I did like the back side of that together and that it looked nicely together. So I'm going to bring the Scotch tape in again and just lay it down. And I don't tape it to my board to keep it straight this time. I just tape the panels together. And I think that's where I go awry. But I'll lay the next, get it all taped up, and then we'll flip it over. And I'll see that it looks like it's a little bit off. Then I'll trim it, which is my mistake. I could have fixed it until I cut it. But I've got a remedy for that. Everything's fixable. It's just paper. So see, I snip it. And then when I lay it down, I realize it's a little bit crooked, and I go to straighten it up. And when you do, you can see that I've snipped some away. I'm going to point it out here in a minute. Yep. I'm thinking I can fix it, but I can't, so it's just going to be. So I'm going to go get a circle scalloped orange, because I laid that orange color down on, as a base layer, and I laid that down on there. So I'm going to use the orange one just to kind of bring that back in. Whoa, bumped my desk. And then I'm going to lay those latte cups or whatever they are on there, and that'll be my sentiment. And then this is another one off camera when I was getting ready to take the photo. I had a little thanks die cut in that little container, and I went ahead and grabbed it. It was in the same Dune cardstock that I put for that first base layer down, and so I added a thanks to the bottom of that, and that finished up that card. So I just love these challenges. I hope you do too. I'll link information to Kendra's card challenge in my description box below, so if you've not tried it, you can follow the links and you can give it a try. So here's my remedy. I've got this little ribbon. My son-in-law had picked up this box of goodies at some, I don't know, little junk store or something and brought it over. And there was a whole bunch of this ribbon in there. And I stumbled across it as I was pulling my materials together, and I thought, this ribbon looks great with a set of paper. So I'm bringing it in, and I'm going to put it on some of my different cards. And I'm just going to add a little extra glue just to get it to lay exactly how I want to. And it covers up that little spot on there. So there's my 3 cards, 4, 5, and 6. So that finishes off my 3 cards, sketch 4, sketch 5, and sketch 6. I hope you like them. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to play Kendra's Card Challenge.